Hey, this is Rue. Today I'm doing another EU4 challenge run, but this one's a little bit different. I saw somebody on Reddit say that Athens is one of the hardest starts in the game, and I strongly disagree with that. To prove it, I'm going to play an Athens game with a few restrictions. First, we cannot unlock any new technologies, meaning we'll be at tech level 3 the entire run. Second, we cannot unlock institutions beyond feudalism, which we start the game with. Following these rules means that we won't be able to take any idea groups or build anything beyond castles. I've received a few comments that I rely on loans too heavily, and they're probably right, so to add a little extra challenge, I'm also going to ban those from this run. Before we start, I want to say thanks to my patrons and YouTube members. I just launched these recently, and if you want another way to support the channel and access to some extra perks, I'll put a link in the video description. Let's get into it. Here's our starting estate setup, which is pretty standard for me, and we're going to focus admin right away. Poland takes the local noble, which isn't great for our run, but let's play it out anyways. Athens starts with Tuscan as our primary culture, which I dropped for Greek in September of 1445. There are 3 reasons why I think Athens is actually a pretty easy start if you know what you're doing. First, we're a Catholic monarchy in Europe, which means pulling strong allies is like shooting fish in a barrel. Second, our overlord, Byzantium, is laughably weak and has good land. As for the third point, well, let me show you. Improved relations plus a scornful insult to the Mamluks means we can get Ottoman support for independence in April of 1446. We declare war at the end of the month. Byzantium has Moldavia and Serbia as allies, which is honestly better Diplo than they usually get, but with the Ottomans involved it doesn't matter. We get blitzed immediately, and I transport 2 of our regiments out right before enemy troops reach Athens. I bring our troops to Bulgaria and put 1 regiment on Constantinople so we'll get the occupation. While we fight, we want to be thinking about Diplo. We want some combination of the nearby Catholic majors, Austria, Hungary, Poland, and Lithuania. An enemy stack is sieging down the Ottoman capital, but surely they won't get the siege at 7% and stack wipe us here. The nice thing about an independence war like this is we can make mistakes and the Ottomans will still carry us. We convert Athens to Catholic at the end of March, and with our religious unity fixed, we increase stability. In May, the Ottomans provide the perfect distraction for us to sneak back across the strait and onto Constantinople. The Ottomans put forces on the siege, but in the world of EU4, it's first come, first served, so this is going to be our occupation. We've increased relations with Poland, and in November they're ready for a royal marriage. In March of 1449, we get an event offering an exchange of 1,000 manpower for plus 75 opinion from Poland, which we obviously take. The Ottomans don't get Crimea as a subject in the event, which is perfectly fine with us. We separate peace Serbia in April, taking only war reparations. If we took gold here, almost all of it would go to the Ottomans, which I'd rather not see. The Ottomans expect land out of this independence war, so there are 2 ways to play it. If you want to go after the Mamluks first and form Jerusalem, you're better off not taking land and keeping the Ottoman alliance. You can then use the Ottomans to carry you in a Mamluk War. But if you want to go after the Ottomans first and form the Latin Empire, then take all the land you want since the Ottomans are about to hate our guts. We take the second option in our peace deal in July of 1449. We get our independence and 4 provinces. The Ottomans react how we expected, with minus 3,028 desire to keep alliance, which seems excessive. At the same time, they ask us for manpower, which is bold of them. With the war over, we immediately ally Poland. We royal marry Lithuania in April of 1450 and ally them a month later. We release Bulgaria as a vassal in July of 1451, and we ally the Papal State in September. Athens gets the Crusader State mission tree, and we're able to complete Sway the Pope, giving us permaclaims in part of Greece. Epirus has no allies, and we declare war in September of 1451. Unfortunately, they have more galleys than we do, so we aren't able to get naval supremacy. We finally capture the Epirote capital in April of 1453 after a 1.5-year siege. With no way to cross the strait, we make peace in May, humiliating them and taking the province of Arta. With the war over, we move our capital to Constantinople. This moves our home trade node and automatically sets autonomy to 0 in our best province. We improve relations with Austria, and a scornful insult in June of 1461 is enough for a royal marriage, which is then enough for an alliance. This is what I meant about Diplo being easy for Catholic monarchies. Even as a small nation, we're still able to get alliances with 3 major powers. The Ottomans declare on what's left of Byzantium in April of 1463, and we're not just going to let them have it. We declare our own war, and since our army's just a province away, we're able to destroy the Byzantine army in 2 engagements, and then start sieging before the Ottomans are even able to land. We finish the siege in November of 1463 and end the war with our full annexation. The Ottomans declare war on Karaman in April of 1465, which puts them at war with the Mamluks. This is the distraction we've been waiting for, but I wait a 1.5 years before calling our own war. Austria won't join us, but Poland and Lithuania will. In November of 1467, we take a mission I've been holding for years, Crusader Fleet, giving us permaclaims in Syria and Palestine, but more importantly a 20-year bonus to galley combatability. We take the European side of the Ottomans without issue, but our allies start getting trounced in Anatolia. See this Lithuanian army in December, and here's a different Lithuanian force in March. One of the funny things about this challenge is that an EU4 tech advancement and idea group serve as two of the game's biggest mana sinks. Since we aren't doing any of that, the vast majority of our mana production is going to go into province development. We'll talk about that more later. We send a gift of 100 gold to Austria in June, which is enough to get them to join our war effort. Another funny thing about this run, there are a number of events that give penalties to tech cost. For example, here with Warriors Do Not Read Books. These penalties are completely irrelevant to us. Despite having superior numbers, our allies get thumped again in Ankara in October of 1468. This is classic early game Ottomans, outnumbered, fighting a two-front war, and still somehow winning every battle against the AI. We're already 2 levels behind in Miltech, so there's not much we can do directly here. A large Polish stat gets attacked in Qoyunlu, and of course they lose as well. The Mamluks throw in the towel in March, which means that Karaman is history, and they get fully annexed shortly afterwards. The Ottoman Navy tries to contest the strait in November of 1469, and it's pretty close, but Moldavia and Lithuania reinforce in time and we manage to hold on. Blocking the strait lets us take the rest of the European occupations freed up from the Ottomans' other war. The Ottomans contest the strait again in December of 1470 and we win, but with losses. When our allies try to cross into Anatolia, they just get thrashed. Here's a decently sized Polish army in July of 1471. I'm not sure why Austria doesn't help here. This might have been winnable, but AI gonna AI. Instead, the Austrians go in on their own and lose their own battle in Shugla in October. Our allies are starting to white peace, so it's time to wrap this one up. We end the war in June of 1472, returning 9 corps to Bulgaria, and in April of the next year we start annexing them. The next few years are fairly uneventful. We royal marry Castile in December of 1480, which lets us complete the mission Maritime Allies in February. This gives Castile an event to give us the island of Malta, which I think the AI always accepts. We finish the annexation of Bulgaria in July of 1484, and after promoting Bulgarian culture, we start converting the new provinces to Catholicism. Due to the rules of this run, the only building we have unlocked are basic level 2 forts, but we did inherit some buildings from annexation. For example, there's a church here in Philippopolis. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to keep this, so to be on the safe side, I delete it. Going forward, I delete all inherited or conquered non-fort buildings, although I don't always get to them right away. Our truce has been up with the Ottomans for a while, but I was hoping they'd go for round 2 with the Mamluks or otherwise get distracted. That isn't happening, so we take another run at them in November of 1487. Everybody's willing to join except Castile, who we swapped the Papal State out for. Castile and France both got lucky PUs this game. Castile got England while France got Burgundy. We open the war by quickly occupying Gallipoli and blocking the strait, so even if our allies fail again, we'll avoid a disaster. Fortunately, our allies are actually able to push into Anatolia this time, taking the fort in Kocaeli in November of 1490. A year later, we're able to take a 100 war score peace deal, taking 4 provinces in Anatolia and almost all of their Balkan land. We've passed 400 dev, which lets us upgrade our government rank from duchy to kingdom. One of the fun things about these challenge runs is that, by playing the game in unusual ways, I learn stuff that I wouldn't think to notice or test in a regular game. Here's an example. I always thought that rebel Miltech was tied to our country tech. Here's a stack of Ottoman rebels that we spawned. I send our troops to engage in April of 1496, and we lose badly. At least for separatist rebels, Miltech is actually tied to the country they want to join, in this case, the Ottomans. Since we're locked to Miltech 3 all game, this is a problem. It's time to rethink how we deal with rebels, and in August of 1496 I disband our standing army. It's time to switch to mercs, but even here I have to be careful because all our national merc companies, like the Free Company, share our Miltech. Fortunately, there are other mercs available with higher tech levels. Another thing I didn't know, even with higher tech level, merc unit type is still locked to whatever is selected in the military tab. In our case, Tier 1 Halberd Infantry. So higher Miltech will help to some extent, but as the game goes on, we're going to be at a worsening pip disadvantage. We declare our next war in February of 1500 against the Republic of Genoa. We call our usual allies, Austria, Poland, and Lithuania. Here's a look at the great powers in January of 1502. If we were caught up on institutions, we'd already be the number 5 great power. In April, we declare a second war on Epirus, which also puts us at war with Albania, the Knights, and Cyprus. We capture Cephalonia in October and head north to deal with Albania. We separate peace them in February of 1504, taking war reparations and gold. We can't beat the Venetian fleet, but we catch a window in June long enough for us to land troops in Rhodes. We capture Rhodes in August of 1506 and annex them shortly afterwards in a separate peace deal. Genoa unconditionally surrenders in our other war, and we finish that one in November, taking their Greek islands as well as Corfu from Venice. We make peace with Epirus in March of 1507, taking their last province. Here's another funny thing about a no-tech run. Look at these army strength comparisons among our potential rivals. We have 19,000 mercenaries, but the game thinks the Hungarian army is 1,700% stronger than us. In March of 1508, we go on another round of building elimination in our new provinces. Our truce is up with the Ottomans, and we declare a third war in August of 1511. They've allied Hungary, which is kind of weird, but our allies should still be able to carry us. On our own, we still can't take the Ottomans. Watch how poorly this battle goes until Lithuania comes to the rescue. Crete gets released by Venice as part of some other peace deal, and we declare on them in March of 1512. Here's what happens to our troops without allied support. 0.5 tactics is just brutal. As expected, once the Ottomans are weakened, the Mamluks pile on with their own war in June of 1512. This means we're really going to have to scramble for Anatolian occupations. We capture Crete in August of 1513 and annex their only province. We end the Ottoman War in January of 1516, and I call this the Block Out the Mamluks peace deal. We've now taken enough provinces to complete another mission, which lets us tag switch to the Latin Empire, giving us empire government rank and permaclaims to the entire Balkan and Anatolian regions. We also get the Crusader state government reform, which lets us have the Holy War CB without any ideas. We're going to switch national ideas here. All that we're really changing are the traditions, going from tolerance of heretics and fort defense to discipline and missionary strength versus heretics. It's time to release some subjects. First Serbia, then Aretna, and then Karaman. In August of 1516, we get the option to embrace the Counter-Reformation. Normally, I almost always avoid this decision since it comes with significant penalties to tech and idea cost. But in this run, those penalties don't matter whatsoever, so this is basically just bonuses and extra missionaries. The Mamluks make peace with the Ottomans in January of 1517, and it's exactly what I expected, pushing up to our borders. We get called as an ally to a couple wars, first by Spain in February, trying to get Naples in a PU, and then by Lithuania in May, trying to take Crimean land. We accept both, but neither actually need our help, and they both win without much trouble. We go after Venice next at the end of 1521. This run feels similar to that No Army Trebizond game since we have to rely on allies to carry us in any meaningful war. We're able to land troops in Cyprus, which we capture in June of 1523, and we separate peace them immediately. Our allies have no trouble rolling over Venice, and we end the war in May of 1524, taking their last remaining Greek islands, humiliating them, and taking gold. Albania is our next target, and this time it's a reconquest war since they have a ton of Serbian cores. We try to push in, but the Hungarian army sends us packing in a battle that isn't even close to competitive. Maybe the game isn't wrong about that 1700% number. Look at this Muscovite Ottoman peace deal in January 1526. They take 5 provinces in Anatolia. I don't think I've seen Muscovite Mamluk borders this close together, and the map color looks almost identical. As usual, our allies are strong enough to carry us, and we make peace in February of 1528. We annex all their provinces, but most of these are going back to Serbia. Note that the game now considers the Mamluk army to be 3,400% stronger than ours. Spain calls us to a war against Florence in March, which is followed by Austria calling us to a defensive war against France in June of 1529. Austria doesn't have good Diplo, which is a bad combination with a strong France game. I accept the call to arms that we're just going to bunker down behind our forts. By the time French troops get here, Austria will probably be close to making peace. Muscovite Anatolia shouldn't be a thing, so we declare war in January 1532, calling Lithuania, Poland, and Spain. The performance of our troops this run is such a contrast to the last one, where we had 150% discipline Zoroastrian Space Marines. Look at this battle in March. We have the terrain advantage and almost twice the troops, and we still get completely smoked. We try again in February of 1533. The French are outnumbered 2.5 to 1, they have a terrain disadvantage, and they don't even have a general. Watching our troops lose again and again, is this how it feels to be the AI? But we're slow learners, so we start a third simultaneous war against the Ottomans. France makes peace with Austria in July of 1534, and they get gutted pretty badly, losing half of their corps to Styria. Here's another ridiculous battle in September of 1537. We have a 3-to-1 numbers advantage and a terrain bonus, and we still almost lose. We end the Muscovite War in November of 1538, kicking them out of the Anatolia region and giving a couple provinces in Crimea to Lithuania. Tunis sends us a white peace offer in March, letting us end the Ottoman War. We go for full annexation, which means that the Ottomans didn't even make it 100 years in this run. The Mamluks are next, and we declare war in June of 1539. It can be hard to get Christian allies to join wars against the Mamluks due to distance from capital, but Spain and Lithuania are on board. This war's a little sketchy. As you've seen, our forces can't contribute much. Lithuania will participate, but one-on-one they're weaker than the Mamluks. We're relying on Spain, which is really a gamble since they could be in colonial war mode. We get lucky. Not only does Spain send a small stack, we even get a few English troops, which I wasn't expecting. By December of 1544, we've built up some war score, but we still need to take a fort to be able to take land. The key battle of the war is our defense of the siege in Halab. Mid-battle, Lithuania bows out of the war, and we're actually saved by the small English stack, which is funny. We take the fort on the next tick at the end of January, and I set up the peace deal. We take all their Anatolian provinces, as well as one in northern Syria. Next up is our first holy war of the game against Qoyunlu in May of 1545. Mid-war, we finish the annexation of Eretna in January of 1546. AQ's weak enough that we don't need to call any allies, and we finish the war in September, taking both their provinces. Poland calls us to arms against Bohemia in 1548. As usual, we're going to accept but sit the war out. We peacefully vassalize Herzegovina in January of 1549, but they immediately jump to 96% Liberty Desire. Liberty Desire is a problem this run, partially due to our trash military, but mostly from the fact that we're way behind in Diplotech. This is already a 45% penalty, and it's soon to climb to 50%. Fortunately, we have a ton of mana that we can dump into subject development. We finish the annexation of Karaman in November of 1550. Herzegovina somehow loses to Bosnian separatist rebels, ceding almost all their territory. So we peacefully vassalize Bosnia as well in November of 1552. Hungary has several of our subjects' cores, so we declare a reconquest war in January. They're allied to Russia, but all our allies are willing to join, so this is pretty one-sided. England even sends two 16k stacks, which is bizarre. I wonder if them being in a PU under Castile changes their military behavior. We white peace Russia in November of 1556, and we end the Hungarian War days later, taking 4 corps back for our subjects and a large chunk of Adriatic coastline. The Evangelical Union fires in December of 1556, and we join the Catholic League. This is another gamble. If the Protestant side gets stacked, we could lose some territory, but the advantage of joining so early is that there's a decent chance our rivals will join the opposite side. We have most of the Anatolian region, but we need a few more provinces from Qoyunlu, and we declare a second holy war in April of 1557. For some reason, they have almost no troops, and even our ancient military is too much for them to handle. Brandenburg kicks off the League War in May of 1559, and we immediately make peace with Qoyunlu. We take the rest of the Anatolian region along with some gold. We ally Austria later that month. I have a theory that AI war leaders are more likely to give you land if you're allied to them. I have no idea if that's based in reality, so if you know, please tell me in the comments. Here's a look at the sides. This is actually a pretty tame League War, with almost every major sitting it out. Even though we look big on the map, with our military being what it is, I'm not sure that we count as major. My goal with this war is getting Hungarian land in the Croatia area, so that's where we send our troops. In February, a Neapolitan army stack wipes one of our merc companies before the others can even reinforce, but with allies we eventually push them back. Naples tries again in June of 1560, but our numbers and the help of a couple allies are enough to win again. Our available mercenary companies are really light on cannons, so these sieges take a long time. We capture the fort in Zagreb in March of 1561 after a 1-year siege. Here's another issue with a no-tech forts-only run, governing capacity. Even with Empire rank and all 3 estate privileges, we're capped at 900. Normally you can get governing capacity from tech and build courthouses, but all we can really do here is some destating. Austria separate pieces Hungary in February of 1563, and we get really fortunate here, getting all 4 provinces we wanted. I had marked these as of vital importance, red, but that's never a guarantee with an AI war leader. There's one last province we need for the Balkan region, the just-released nation of Croatia, and we declare a holy war before they have a chance to pick up allies. We capture their capital and annex them in April. The League War ends in March of 1567 with Austria and the Catholic League triumphant. As expected, they make Catholicism the official faith of the HRE, which gives us the Catholic Empire bonus on the next month tick. Here's another goofy thing about this run. Because rival strength takes institutions into account, the game's offering us tiny rivals. We have like 1100 dev and the game's offering us Sealy, with 3 provinces as a valid rival. It's time to start annexing our vassals. First, Herzegovina in August of 1569, and then Bosnia a year later. In November of 1570, we get a PU over Poland, which in a normal run would be awesome, but not in this one. If we were to pump in a ton of prestige and mana, it might be possible to get them loyal, but I don't want to do that, so I just let them go and immediately re-ally them. Spain finishes the annexation of England in July of 1571, and look at these borders. I'm not sure whether I should be impressed or disgusted. We finish the annexation of Serbia in September of 1576 and start missionary conversions. Converting these regions to Catholic wasn't part of the goal, but we're playing a crusader state, so it only seems appropriate. Here's something that has never made sense to me. In July of 1578, the Pope calls for a crusade against the Iroquois. Is that really necessary? Was Spain struggling with that war? I think there should be some kind of development floor to be a valid crusade target. We finish our last missionary conversion in February of 1580, and that's the goal completed. We have the entirety of both the Balkan and Anatolian regions, without ever taking any technologies, ideas, or loans. Let's prove it. Here's a look at our tech level, which is still 3 across the board. Notice the minus 60% neighbor bonus. And here are the institutions. Both the Renaissance and colonialism have completely covered our nation and have an embracement cost of 1 gold each. Obviously, our idea groups are empty, and all we're getting here are the Latin traditions. Here's a look at the great powers, and this basically feels like Ming, 1500 dev, but 8th place great power. I mentioned early on that playing this way meant there wasn't really much to do with mana but dev, and I want to show how extreme that went. Here's a chart of the nations who did the most development in the game. Denmark and Milan spent about 7,000 mana across 130 dev clicks, while we spent 27,000 mana across 517 dev clicks. It's harder to see in the dev map mode, but if you look around the core of our empire, Greece, Bulgaria, and Western Anatolia, there's a lot of green. We left culture alone for this run, but here's the religious map mode. We were able to convert every province except one, which still has the religious seal modifier. Here's the economy. This is pretty sad for how much land we have, but it's tough to build a strong economy with no tech and no buildings. And there wasn't even that much to spend money on, since by the end of the run both our army and navy were completely obsolete. Here's the military tab. We still have mil tactics of 0.5 and an impressive combat width of 20. Okay, let's wrap this one up while I run the game timeline. I wasn't sure what to expect with this challenge. I didn't do any test runs. What you saw here was my first attempt. Parts of it felt very similar to the no army run. For example, relying on allies to carry us in wars, but that run still had a lot more depth. I think one of the main questions I'm going to get here is, why didn't you keep playing to 1821 and try to restore Rome or something? I think a no-tech, no-buildings Roman Empire run is entirely possible, particularly if you start with a stronger nation, but I don't think it would be very fun. Tech and ideas and buildings are a big part of this game, and playing without all that can be interesting for a bit, but getting to 1821 is a lot more than a bit. This run reminds me of another one I did a few months ago, a no-war Ottomans game. I wanted to see how far I could expand without declaring a single war. The answer's quite a bit, but playing that way is really boring. I still have the footage, and might still make a short video about it, but I would strongly recommend you not trying that at home. Once you figure out its systems, I think at its heart EU4 is really a war game, at least for experienced players. One more thing, this run was done with different video settings in both EU4 and OBS. I plan to release it in 1440p on YouTube. Please let me know if it looks better, the same, or worse relative to previous videos. As always, thanks for watching, and special thanks to those of you who are patrons or YouTube members, and I'll see you in the next one.